altars are for two basic things, generally, altars. One, they help to legitimize spirits. That's what altars are for. And what do I mean when I say that an altar is to legitimize a spirit? The word legitimize just simply means to allow, to approve, to authorize. So what your prayer altar does is that it authorizes God, it allows God to invade your space. It allows the Spirit of God to invade your territory. It allows the Spirit of God to invade your family. It legitimizes spirits. So even in the negative supernatural, when a demon on Satan's side is looking for expression in the earth, he looks for a man who is willing to partner with him to build an altar, to legitimize the spirit. Because if that spirit attempts to invade the realm of men, he doesn't have that, he's not allowed. This realm has been designed for those of us who are men. So the only way a spirit can become legitimate in this realm is that there must be a technology that grants it that authorization. So an altar is a system of authorization. And what are you authorizing? You are authorizing access. You want God to visit your family, build a prayer altar. You want God to visit your academics, build an altar around your academics, a prayer altar. You want God to visit any area of your business, build a prayer altar for your business. So what you do is that you will allow the Spirit of God to now enact government over that area of your life. That's what altars are for. It's not only to legitimize, it is also to legalize. Those two words are not the same. Stay with me tonight. They are not the same. Legitimacy just means allowance. To legalize means to allow by law. So this one now is now built upon a legal framework. There is some legal framework that now makes that spirit legal. And then when you want to legalize a spirit at the place of altars, the system for that legalization is what is called sacrifice. So every altar will demand a sacrifice. And what that sacrifice does is that it now says to the spirit, you are now a legal entity in this realm. This is why in the negative supernatural, they don't just build altars for the fun of it. They must put what? Sacrifice. The sacrifice is what tells the spirit you are legal. Because in this realm, sacrifices are important. This is why even when God wanted to save man, there needed to be a sacrifice to satisfy the claims of divine justice. And as God is so God, he still needed to subject himself to that principle and provide a sacrifice. Jesus became the slain lamb so that man would be redeemed. So the altar of redemption needed to be serviced with the blood of Christ so that man could walk free upon the face of the earth. So even when you build a prayer altar, if you are going to legalize a spirit, you must put sacrifice. And if you were here when I began the teaching, I told you that that sacrifice basically is twofold. The first dimension of the sacrifice is that you put yourself on the altar. You give yourself. Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present what? Your bodies. As a what? Living sacrifice. So you must bring yourself, you must submit yourself totally to the government of God. Based on your understanding of the priority and the necessity of prayer, you now submit yourself as a sacrifice. The second dimension of it is that you will now deliberately, intentionally sacrifice your time. Praying and prayer will cost you. It will lay demand on your schedules. So your timing becomes a currency in the spirit that you offer as sacrifice. So when you are supposed to be sleeping, when you stand up and say, instead of sleeping 8 hours, I want to now sacrifice 3 hours. What you are doing is that you are now legalizing that access point. You are giving credence to that spirit, saying that you have legal authority by law to be able to invade our realm. This is why those in the negative supernatural, they don't joke with sacrifices. There are seasons, there are schedules around it. Because apart from sacrifices that legalize spirits, the second dimension that makes a spirit legal is something called covenant. Covenant.